wishing everyone a happy story. This is bad, miss, run quickly. The royal family's Tranchao rushed in from outside, grabbed my hand and was about to run out. She came out to check the old man's house. My head was buzzing, the scene before my eyes was spinning. Supported by Tranchao, I held her hand tightly. Tranchao, what did you just say? Please say it again. Miss, you came out to search the Luke family's house, miss, run quickly. After Tranchao finished speaking, she burst into tears again. She came out to capture Mississippi. Because the eldest young master had not returned yet, she came out to use people as bait to capture the eldest young master. I took a deep breath and held on to Tranchao tightly. No, I won't go, I have to go and beg him. There must be some misunderstanding in this matter. I really can't believe that the husband who was so gentle and caring for me this morning, in just a moment, wants to arrest my whole family. Today is Dong Tri Day, and it is also the day my brother returns to the capital. Lately I have been feeling unwell, so I told Tamdiam. This morning before Tamdiam went out, he sent someone to invite the imperial physician to take my pulse. He said he would go home early today and come back to celebrate Tet with me after the afternoon break. After taking my pulse, the imperial physician told me that there was a happy pulse and also prescribed some medicine to nourish the fetus. Tamdiam loves children very much. Normally, whenever we see children, his eyes will always be glued to them, staring at them forever. Chow Chow, please give me a daughter? This morning I was still rubbing my little belly, happily imagining Shun Yan's expression when she found out she had just become a father. So how could I believe that my husband wanted to kill my entire family? Outside, the snow was falling heavily, and I was supported by the buffalo's hoof as I walked out. Miss, you won't listen to what people say when you go out. No, right now the only person I can ask for help is him. I still can't believe it, I want to find out clearly. The two of us had just left the yard when we saw Tamdiam leading a group of people and horses back. He stood outside the door looking at me, his eyes no longer filled with the gentleness and longing of the past. I tried to hold back my tears, looking at him passionately. Husband, they said you just confiscated the entire Luke family, is that true? Yes, I used myself, my whole body was so thick that I stumbled when I spoke. Why? Husband, didn't my parents treat you well? Shun Yan was born into poverty, but my father didn't look down on his background, and my mother treated him like her own son, caring for him very attentively. I never expected that my parents' kindness would be mistakenly given to a person who bit the hand that fed on them. Why? Shun Yan's face was as cold as ice, her eyes filled with resentment. Why don't you ask what your precious brother did? I've been planning for so many years, all for today's revenge. Brother, husband, is there some misunderstanding? My brother is kind-hearted, and has loved to fight for his lover since he was young. At the age of 10, he was sent to the military camp by my father. I really can't figure out what kind of grudge he had against Shun Yan, to the point where he wanted to kill our entire family. Misunderstanding, you think I'm stupid, don't know how to retaliate. Husband, I want to see evidence, I don't believe it. I let go of Tranchao's hand, staggered towards Tamdiam, but my foot suddenly slipped and I fell to the ground. Tamdiam just stood there, looking down at his wife who was lying on the snow, his face indifferent. Miss Tranchao, help me up. Miss, you must take care of your health. Tamdiam just waved his hand and escorted us away. A few of his subordinates immediately came down, arrested Tranchao and me, and put us in the prison carriage, then drove the carriage to the south gate of the city. The snow on the ground was really thick, the rolling wheels created deep dents, and occasionally people on the road took out materials on the spot. I rolled a handful of snow from the ground into a snowball and threw it at the prison van. The snowball hit the carriage pillar, splashing onto my face, my neck, and my body. I could only feel the cold. When we reached the south gate, everyone else had been taken to the execution ground, except for my brother. Tamdiam sat on the platform while I knelt on the ground with the sword held to my neck. After he read the imperial edict, he ordered the beheading of the entire Luke family. Husband, I am listening to you, the Luke family is innocent. Can you please do me a favor one more time? I cried and kowtowed to him, listening to him. Husband, I'm pregnant, you're going to be a father, accumulate virtue for our child, don't kill too much, okay? Shun Yan assisted the new emperor, a person who was only 8 years old, successfully won the throne after fighting with many other princes. Now his power is only below one person, above 10,000 people. I know, the imperial edict or whatever is all his own scheme. We've been married for 5 years, finally have a child. I beg him to spare the Liu family for his sake. Kana on Tam Diem's face was a look of sarcasm. He walked over, reached out and grabbed my chin. Every time he finished, I would see you drink the medicine with my own eyes. Luke Tan Wang, how could I let you bear my child? He used his fingertips to caress my face, leaned down and whispered into my hand. Or is it that the thing in your belly is an illegitimate child? His words were like a poisonous knife, stabbing into my heart, making me hurt so much that I couldn't breathe. Because of my poor health, I couldn't have children. Seeing him love children so much, I had always felt sorry for him all these years. Who would have thought that he was the one who didn't want me to get pregnant? Tam Diem let go of my hand, letting me fall onto the snow. Buffalo Legs cried, trying to help me up. Miss, you stand up in front of the rock. My whole body felt like it had been drained of all strength, lying flat on the ground, my mind blank. 2 stabs in Tam Diem's voice woke me up. I sat up, crawled to Tam Diem's side, and pulled his hand. Tam Diem, tell them to stop. Tell them to stop, okay? I can't do it. I called out until my voice was hoarse, but he didn't even bother to glance at me once. He just pushed me away and held my mouth. The heads of each relative shriveled and fell to the ground. The white snow was stained red with blood. Finally, the family was left with only father, mother and me. Shun Yan sat on the stage and looked down at the 2 of them. It seems that your precious son, the 6th son, has even abandoned his parents. Didn't everyone say that he was an extremely filial son? He really is a coward. My brother hasn't even returned yet, but Shun Yan can't wait any longer. Shun Yan, I treat you like my own son. I never thought you would go to any lengths to kill our entire Liu family. It's all because I can't see people. I've brought harm to the Liu family. I deserve to die 10,000 times. My father was indignant and scolded Shun Yan. After scolding, he stood up and banged his head hard against a pillar. With a thud, blood splattered all over the ground. Mother looked at father's body, then glanced at me, then rushed into the sword of the translator. There was no more movement. Mother, I smiled bitterly at Tam Diem. Husband, now it's my turn, right? Tam Diem's eyes looked at me as if looking at a stranger. He only ordered his subordinates, hold her tight. Before the 6th master appears, nothing can happen to her. 2 people stepped forward, pushed the buffalo leg to the ground, then stood on one side, pressing down on my shoulder. When the sky was about to darken, my brother finally arrived. I never knew that a top scholar like Tam Diem had such good sword skills. He drew his sword and dueled with my elder brother. My elder brother had been traveling for several days and was exhausted. He was completely no match for him. As a result, a few afternoons later, he was stabbed through the heart by Shun Yan's sword. I had diligently practiced swordsmanship for many years, waiting for the day I could kill my enemy with my own hands. Today I finally did it. Tam Diem emotionlessly pulled the sword out of my brother's body. A lot of blood flowed from his chest. My brother slowly fell to the ground, saying one last sentence to me. Wang, I'm sorry, I can't protect you anymore. I struggled out of the 2 hands that were holding me, crawling towards him. Brother, please get up. His chest was still bleeding and the weather was too cold. The blood had already congealed into chunks as soon as it hit the ground. I wanted to help him up, but I couldn't. Brother, get up quickly, the ground is very cold. Miss, your health is not good, please stop quickly. The eldest young master has left. The cowherd hugged me. That's right, my parents and relatives are all gone. Husband, are you satisfied? Shun Yan just leisurely wiped the 1-meter 101 mark on the sword, not paying any attention to me. I struggled to stand up, threw myself at the tip of his sword, only to hear a thud. Then my chest started to ooze out drops of blood. It hurt so much. Must have been my father, mother and elder brother who were all in pain just now. My 1-meter 101 marks were all over Shun Yan's face. He looked at me blankly, but I just reached out to grab the hilt of the sword, using all my strength to pull it towards me. With a puff, more than half of the sword had pierced through my body. Great, I'm about to reunite with my parents. Today is the day my brother returns to the capital, and it's also the day our whole family can zoom in. Father and mother, wait for the baby is almost here, the baby. Beside me was Shun Yan's shrill scream. I lifted my eyes to look at him. Seeing his face that had been gloomy all day finally changed color. Shun Yan let go of the hand holding the sword. His whole body trembled. His limbs fumbled as he looked at the meter 101 you stuck to his hand. I Shen regret it so much. If there is a next life, I don't want to see you again. If there is a next life, let's just be strangers. Chan Chao helped me sit on the ground. Miss, I'll follow you. After saying that, she immediately pulled the needle from her head and stabbed it into her throat. Imperial physician, quickly call the imperial physician. Shen Yan rushed over, her eyes red, hugging me in her arms, one hand pressing on my chest, the other touching my face, her whole body trembling. Wang, I called the imperial physician. Look at me, look at me. I felt myself getting weaker and weaker. Shen Yan's voice was still heard by my hand. Wang, can you wake up? Wang, can you call me husband one more time? I was wrong. If there is a next life, let's not meet again, Shen Yan. Miss, wake up and stop crying. Why did you have a nightmare after resting afternoon? I heard Zhenju singing next to me. My head hurt so much it felt like it was about to split open. My eyelids felt like they were stuck together, I couldn't open them. Lying down for a while to regain my composure, I squinted my eyes, seeing the image before my eyes was Chan Chao's face. I was absent-minded for a moment. Chan Chao, I put my hand on my chest, pressed hard, it seemed like everything was fine. What's wrong, miss? The hand that was grabbing Chan Chao also reached up to touch her neck. Before I died, she stabbed that needle into my throat, and finally fell beside me. But now, her neck and legs were as shiny as jade, and the warmth transferred to my palm told me that we were both safe and sound. I sniffed and looked around. The decoration was exactly like the boudoir in the Grand Tutor's residence before I got married, which meant I had returned to the past. Where are father and mother? The old man hasn't finished his afternoon work yet, and he said he'll be back a little late. As for madam, she's choosing fabric for you and said the weather is getting warmer, so she needs to make new clothes for you. It's great that we're both still alive. Of course we're alive. Did the young lady have a nightmare? She kept crying while she slept. I shook my head, not knowing how to explain to her. Tran Chao said while I was sleeping I cried so much, she even brought a bronze mirror over for me to look at. Look, my eyes are swollen like peaches. Tran Chao took a peeled boiled egg and put it on my eyes, hoping the swelling would go down quickly. Otherwise it would be inconvenient to go out to meet the guests when they arrive. Are there guests today? Miss, you forgot, today is the day of few boards. The old man came out and said he wanted to go look at the golden board to catch the son-in-law, so he would be back a bit late. Looking at the golden list of grooms, that means I have returned to 54 years old. In my previous life, my father went to a place with few lists to catch a groom and brought Tam Diem back. That very day, Tam Diem invited a matchmaker to the door to ask for a bride. The two sides exchanged concubines, and then at the age of 55, he reached the age of marriage. I gave him the chicken, thinking that I would be happy for the rest of my life, but in the end the entire Luke family died at his hands. If I were to live again, I would definitely not let that tragedy happen again. I stood up and got out of bed. Jinju, quickly help me get my clothes over here, I have to go see mother. Miss, please take it easy, sit down so I can put on my makeup. Are you that eager to see Shengongzi? What did you say? Jinju blushed and looked at me. Miss, do you think I don't know? Today while you were sleeping you kept calling Shengongzi's name. I secretly sighed. August 9th, 10. She misunderstood that I had feelings for Tam Diem. More than a year ago, Tam Diem had come to the capital to prepare for the imperial examinations, extremely famous among scholars. My father was the current imperial tutor. The most precious thing was talented people. Shen Yan was handsome, talented, and humble, and was soon accepted as his disciple. Regarding the matter of marriage, my father had asked my father before, and said that since he no longer had parents, the marriage should be decided by his master. My father had also mentioned Shen Yan many times in front of me before, all with words of praise. But before, I was also extremely happy, and even used the excuse of buying paper and pen to coincidentally meet him once. Tam Diem had just participated in the imperial examination. Today was the day with few scores. In his previous life he had ranked first. Later, when he took the imperial examination, he would become the new top scholar. Today, looking at the golden list to get a son-in-law was just a formality, but both sides had already understood each other in their hearts. I must go see mother and reject this marriage before we exchange concubines. Mother, I don't want to get married. I want to stay home and accompany you for a few more years. I tugged on mother's sleeve and tried my best to act spoiled. You won't marry. Many people are looking forward to the young Master Tam. He is both literary and martial, more than suitable for you. Mother also wants the best for you. He no longer has parents. If you marry there, it will be considered that you have taken full power. No need to worry about being made difficult by the elders. Mother earnestly advised me. I also know that she thought like that for my own good. Right now, my marriage and my brother's marriage are both extremely worrying for father and mother. Brother has long passed the age of weakness after being emotionally hurt a few years ago. He no longer wants to mention matchmaking anymore. But he has been in the borderlands for many years, and father and mother cannot do anything even if they want to. As for my marriage, the big families and even the entire city are paying close attention. This golden city is almost 50 years old, and there are more than 10 princes under its knees, 7 to 8 of whom are adults. The competition between the princes is getting more and more fierce. Our Luke family has always been an example for scholars from all over the world, and father even held the position of Tai Fu. The Luke family is an important target that the princes want to borrow strength from. Father did not want to join any faction of princes or nobles. Tramon saw that the relationship in the capital was extremely complicated, so the scope of our family's choice of a son-in-law was extremely small. A few years ago, my parents used the excuse that I was still young to refuse matchmakers who came to our house, but now that I was 15 years old, we needed to arrange a marriage before the coming-of-age ceremony. Otherwise, I'm afraid the city will grant a marriage. Now that Xin Yan has appeared, my father and mother are extremely pleased with him. He no longer has parents, yet his strength is outstanding. It's as if he appeared specifically for me. Mother told me, we don't want you to get married, we just want you to live happily. Since you were little, we have protected you and raised you, not caring about worldly affairs. If you happen to meet a cruel madam, you will be gnawed until your bones are gone. The beauty house is simple and has few people. If you marry there, you can be the head of the family. You don't need to serve your husband and wife, and you don't need to be stingy and consider anyone's attitude. At that time, he told Xin Yan to buy a house nearby. If you want to come visit us, you can come back immediately. It was true in my previous life. I happily married him after a few years of harmony. My parents did not have any reservations about Xin Yan, truly treating him as their own son. My father taught and guided him, but in the end, when he climbed to the pinnacle of power, covering the sky with one hand, our family was completely wiped out in less than a day. I was thinking of a way to convince my mother to give up on my marriage to Tam Diem when my father returned, and behind him was a young man dressed in white. Without even thinking about it, I knew it was Tam Diem. Just thinking about him made my whole body tremble unconsciously. From afar, I could hear my father's hearty laughter. He really enjoyed his talent. Mother thought I was nervous, so she pulled my hand. Don't be shy. Your father and that person are almost there. In a moment, you stay behind the screen and see if he likes it or not. If he really doesn't like it, then we won't mention this engagement anymore for now. I had no choice but to agree. I hid behind the screen and looked out, seeing Xin Yan following her father into the room. Xin Yan was 18 years old, tall and straight, with a face like jade. But her face did not have the arrogance and complacency that a talented young man should have. Instead, it looked heavy and dark. In my previous life, I did not pay attention to these details. He respectfully and without losing his composure asked my mother, and my mother looked at him with a face full of smiles, the same look of joy when a mother-in-law sees a son-in-law she likes. My father seemed to want to compete for credit, praising Xin Yan to my mother, that if she got first place in the imperial examination and nothing unexpected happened, she would be the top scholar when she took the imperial examination. Xin Yan humbly said that she was just lucky, but the strength of the others was also very strong. All 3 people who participated in the imperial examination had the chance to win the title of top scholar. My mother carefully asked a few more questions about his family. Xin Yan still had a smile on her face, patiently answering every question. I stared at the screen, clenched my jaw, and felt endless bitterness and resentment. In my previous life, he had used that same gentle and humble appearance to easily gain my parents' favor. My father said he wanted to discuss something with my mother, so he sent someone to bring Xin Yan to the outer hall to drink tea. I have inquired about the family. It turns out that the only child in the family is a young brother. If you have no objections, we will set the marriage today. Father stroked his beard and urged mother. You should make a decision quickly. Tomorrow is the imperial examination. Don't forget that the emperor still has several princesses of the right age who have never been married. You want to compete with the emperor for a son-in-law. Aren't you afraid that the emperor will force you to marry him? My mother looked incredulous. But father was extremely proud, so how could he not? If the emperor dared to compete with this old man would immediately lead the scholars of the world to scold him. My daughter's happiness is the top priority. As parents, you plan so deeply for your child. Hearing this, my tears flowed. Then I still have to ask my daughter's opinion first. My mother rubbed her temples, not knowing what was wrong with her. She suddenly said she didn't want to go anymore. The attitude is also very firm. Wang is still young. How can she know anything? Later on, she will understand the suffering in our hearts. I wiped my tears, calmed my heart, stepped out from behind the screen, like my mother's arm. Mother. I remember the time when I went to offer incense at Bodhi Temple. The abbot there said that men born in the year of the goat are not only incompatible with their children but also with their entire family, and marriage is definitely out of the question. In the worst case, they will be forced to give up on their marriage, and in the worst case, they will be exterminated. My mother's face changed and she asked my father what his age was. My father sighed and said he was born in the year of the goat. Don't make excuses like that just to refuse to be admired. Father, it's true. If you don't believe me, just go to Bodhi Temple and ask. Everyone knows that the great master Wen Hui, the abbot of Bodhi Temple, is extremely knowledgeable in fortune-telling. I believe that if he is really that knowledgeable, he will definitely be able to figure this out. My father hesitated for a long time, then waved his hand. Then let's leave it at that for now. Just say that our daughter is still young. Wait until she is old enough to get married and we will consider it later. After all, there is still more than a year left. My father tactfully told Xinyan, Yang is still young, our family only has 2 children, and her older brother is away from home all year round. We want to keep her at home for a few more years. Shen Yu's face showed disappointment, and he wanted to use all his strength to convince my parents. His eloquence was extremely good, I knew this. I stepped out from behind the screen, bowed to him, and hoped that young Master Shen would not blame me for having someone in mind. If it wasn't him, I wouldn't want anything in this life. When I stood up straight and raised my head to look at him, his face gradually turned pale, his eyes filled with surprise and pain. He just stared at me like that for a long time, unable to say anything. I smiled, was about to turn around and leave when suddenly I heard a sound. Wang. Tam Diem called my name, her hand raised to cover her chest. Her mouth again vomited out 4 meters 101 yu. This little girl thinks that Tam Tsong too should still call me Luke Ko Nuong. That would be more comfortable. His face was as pale as paper, his whole body trembled, his body slowly collapsed as if he had lost all his strength, finally sitting on the ground, worshipping the concubines and laughing at himself for being rude. The buffalo legs supported me and walked past him. I did not look back once. I heard from my father that the next day, Tam Diem went to the imperial examination with a sick body, but in front of Tan Thuong, she was still able to answer fluently. Her ability to compose poems was recognized by Tan Thuong as the top scholar. The Qing Shang originally wanted to marry him to the 6th princess, but he used the excuse of having a serious illness to tactfully decline. Seeing his frail appearance, the Qing Shang did not pursue the matter any further. When it came to beauty, my father still had that same regretful expression. He still thinks that Tam Diem is the most suitable destination for me. Mother asked me about the person I said was my soulmate that day. I thought of someone in my mind, and I secretly sighed. Right now, the only person I can look forward to is him. I hope he can return soon. If she had to marry someone, he would be the most suitable person, but she didn't know if he meant it or not. In a flash, another spring banquet had arrived. Princess Ronghua held a grand banquet in her mansion that day. Invite the ladies of the famous families throughout the capital, as well as the newlyweds and talented young men. Just like last year, I am also on the invitation list. This spring party is also a good opportunity for the young men and women who have not yet established a family to meet each other. The princes and princesses in the palace will also attend. The imperial concubine also came. She was the one who gave birth to the 4th prince, 7th prince, and 6th princess. All 3 of them were not yet engaged to anyone. The 4th prince was 17 years old. The 6th princess and 7th prince were twins, both 15 years old. The imperial concubine seemed a bit too enthusiastic towards me. As soon as she saw me, she pulled my hand, then took off the jade bracelet on her hand, intending to put it on my hand. I was so scared that I struggled and screamed in pain, in a very unsightly way. Only then did she embarrassedly let go of my hand. My mother, seeing this, apologized to her, then scolded me for not knowing manners, telling me not to be an eyesore here anymore. I took the opportunity to escape and blend in with the group of little sisters. Now my marriage is much more urgent than before. Look, isn't that the new top scholar Xinyan? The girls all looked towards the pavilion across the lake. There was a little girl shaking my arm. Sixth sister, the top scholar is your father's disciple. Have you ever met him? I wonder if he's engaged to anyone? That little girl blushed, extremely shy. What she said was echoed by the other girls. They all asked me questions. Does young Master Shen really know sixth sister? I wonder what his family is like. Young Master Shen is so handsome. He looks like a fairy from a painting. Their noise makes my head hurt, and the smile on my face fades. Young Master Shen is a foreigner. How could I know him? A fairy, that's overestimating him. I sneered in my heart. How could I be worthy of the 3 words immortal? Perhaps because my tone was too cold, the girls who were just chatting and laughing felt embarrassed. Sixth sister, we were just asking a question. Please don't take it to heart. It's okay. I'm just a little unwell, so I said it without thinking. It's about Xinyan. How can I be calm and composed? But in my previous life, I remember that Xinyan didn't attend this party. My reincarnation has changed a lot of things. Someone suggested going on a flower boat to the peak in the middle of the lake to play. Although I wasn't interested, I didn't want to be left out, so I had to follow them. The moment I stepped onto the boat, I didn't know who pushed me, but my foot slipped and I fell into the lake. I didn't know how to swim, so after struggling in the water for a while, I took a few mouthfuls of water. It was early spring, and the water in the lake was bone-chillingly cold, so cold that it made me shiver. I was already afraid of the cold. In this kind of weather, if I didn't get out of the sun, I didn't want to leave the portable stove. Not long after falling into the water, my whole body was already stiff. But what was colder than my body was my heart. No need to think about it, this was a plot aimed at me. Too bad, in my previous life this early spring party went extremely smoothly without any problems, so I was just worried about someone else pairing me up with someone, but I didn't expect something like this. Buffalo's feet stood on the shore and shouted for help. Something's wrong, quickly save our young lady. Our young lady fell into the lake. I only heard 2 sounds, 2 people, one in rank and one in star, jumped down and swam towards me. My heart sank to the bottom of the abyss. These 2 people, one was Xinyan, the other was the 4th prince. Nowadays, the world is extremely harsh on women. After falling into the water and being saved by a man, it means that the man has touched her body, lost her purity, and can no longer marry anyone else. That year, the sister of the Hawthwang Thursday family next door, Tan Mai Ai Chukma, and Kakata were only waiting for the day of marriage. But unexpectedly, on a lantern festival night during the lantern festival, she was pushed by someone and fell into the river. In the end, she was saved by a servant in the Duke's mansion. In the eyes of everyone, she was no longer innocent. After knowing about it, Kakata didn't take it to heart. Who would have thought that there were so many rumors outside? She couldn't think clearly, and one day she was found hanging from a beam. Her death didn't cause any ripples. Only her parents and acquaintances like us were sad. From that moment on, Kaka became discouraged and stopped talking about love. I didn't want to marry either Tam Diem or the 4th prince. Thinking about the situation I was about to face, like my sister's love in the past, my heart felt like it was going to break. They kept getting closer and closer to me. But then in a moment of despair, suddenly a force lifted me up from below. Then from under the water emerged an ancient bronze face, who turned away and spat out a mouthful of water. Little sister, hold on a little longer. The voice I haven't heard for a long time, and the only person who calls me little sister is Yen Haai. I really can't believe it. Yen Haai, is it really you? Little sister, long time no see. Yen Haai, I finally waited for you. Don't worry, stop fighting the fields, let him hold you. Yen Haai is the crown prince of Din Vong. Din Vong is the only royal family member of this dynasty, holding 500,000 navy troops, stationed in the Southeast Sea. The entire Dingwang family has always maintained a neutral attitude, not participating in the internal wars between the princes. Yen Huai and I have been close since we were young. He is a notorious devil king. Since I was little, he often made me cry, and he often pulled my pigtails while calling me little Yang little sister or little crybaby. When I grew up a little, he climbed over the wall and entered my backyard, holding a hot breakfast cake in his hand. Little sister, look what I brought for this meal. Because he climbed over our wall, he was beaten by my brother many times, but he could not get rid of that truth. Then, when he was 14 years old, he followed the king of Dinan to the Eastern Sea. In recent years he occasionally sent me letters along with some seafood specialties, but it has been many years since we last met. When they got to shore they saw all kinds of people getting off, both men and women. Everyone was talking excitedly. Some sympathized, some were happy. Oh my God! Who was that man holding the young lady of the Luke family? He was so dark, could he be someone's servant? That would be so unlucky. No, it seemed like that person was Prince Din. Tran Chao was still terrified. Luckily the crown prince arrived in time. Tam Song Tu and the fourth prince were still in the lake. They both wanted to save the young lady. I looked down at the lake and saw Tam Diem's hunched figure and pale face. He looked at me and Yen Hoai as if he had lost his soul. I took the initiative to put my arms around Yen Hoai's neck, leaning my head on his shoulder. Behind Tam Diem was the sad and depressed fourth prince. My mother and the maids also came running. After they took me to change clothes, we said goodbye to the princess and went home. Yen Hoai said he would take us home. When getting on the carriage, I caught a glimpse of Tam Diem, who was absent-minded, following behind. Tam Diem got on the carriage but looked at me. His face was a bit tired but his eyes were sparkling, blinking. Did I come just in time? That's right, the timing is too coincidental. When did you come back? He patted the bag on the horse's back. I haven't gone home yet. I ran to your house to find you first. Who would have thought that the servant in the palace said that today you went to the palace of Princess Vin Hoa? Why did you think of coming here? I didn't see you come back during Tet this year. Why did he suddenly return at this time? In my previous life, he didn't return to the capital for an entire year until my coming-of-age ceremony. He hurriedly returned, gave me a whole cart of gifts and then quickly left. At that time I had devoted all my thoughts to Tam Diem, only asking him a few casual questions. After that I never saw him again. On the day of my wedding he didn't show up either, only asking someone to bring many precious gifts. Then I just wanted to go back to the capital to see. The swallow's eyes were shining brightly, calling me, sipping. The voice seemed to carry another emotion. My ears felt a little hot. I glanced at him, then looked away in embarrassment. He chuckled again, jumping around as if he had never finished talking. I was so nervous these past few days, I had the feeling that if I didn't go back, I would regret it for the rest of my life. Oh, I'm so lucky that I made it back in time. It took me more than half a month of continuous horse riding to get back. Thinking back now, I'm still scared. Just think if I had come back just a little later, or if I had gone home to rest for a while, another man would have saved you. I was the same. Thinking back, I was scared, almost got caught by someone else. Luckily there was a banquet. The carriage had already arrived at the gate of the Luke family's mansion. The person beside me saw me for a long time without saying anything, but he wasn't angry. His eyes just stared at me, making my cheeks burn. My heart beat like a drum. I respectfully begged him to give me a hint. He was looking at something. He scratched his head and looked at the little boy. I made another sound and heard his voice full of resentment. It had been too long since we last met. I lowered my head in shame, and he handed me the bundle of things on the horse's back. He found some interesting things on the beach, in the sky. Before leaving, he turned back, his expression very solemn. Little brat, don't be impatient. I'll write a letter as soon as I get home, telling my mother to return to the capital to arrange our marriage. I have thick legs, who is impatient? He blinked his eyes and laughed. I saw that the little guy seemed very impatient. Yen Hoai, okay, I am impatient, very impatient, okay? Yen Hoai finished speaking and laughed heartily, turned around and climbed on the horse. Little guy, I am going. After returning to her room, Tran Chao opened the package that Yen Hoai had given her. Inside were jade bottles and colorful shell jewelry, as well as quite a few Western toys. She had thought that Yen the Crown Prince was a rustic and uncouth person, but unexpectedly, there was sophistication in his crudeness. The young lady looked at the gifts that she had chosen for him that day. They were all exquisite and of good quality. She had randomly picked out a pearl, but it was still bigger than the ones in her hand. That's right, he's always been so generous. In my previous life, on my coming-of-age ceremony, He gave me a whole cart full of rare and exotic items, successfully scaring everyone present. Shen Yan was even jealous for a long time because of it. After returning to the capital, Princess Ding made an appointment with my mother, telling her to take me to offer incense at the Bodhi temple. By the way, we also asked Master Van Tuesday to calculate an auspicious day to hold the wedding. Yan Haoai also went with us. The little monk in the temple said that the master was receiving other guests inside, so we had to wait a while. When it was our turn, the person who walked out of Grandmaster Wen Hui's room was Shen Yan with a gloomy and bored expression. He seemed to be even thinner than before. When I looked at him, the person who was lowering his head seemed to have sensed it, and quickly stopped and looked at me, Miss Lu. As soon as Mother saw Shen Yan, she enthusiastically asked him, "Shen Yan, why are you so thin?" I almost didn't recognize him. My mother still has a good impression of him. Shen Yan coughed lightly. "Master, is it because your disciple caught a cold a few days ago?" Then he looked at our group with a doubtful expression. "Master, everyone came here for." Princess Ding replied frankly, "You are the new top scholar, right? I have heard people mention the reputation of young Master Vang Sa as soon as I returned. If you are the son of Lord Luke, when the banquet and the wedding are over, you should also come and drink a glass of wine to celebrate." Princess Ding just finished speaking. Shan's face immediately turned pale as if all the blood had drained from it. Her body swayed as if she was about to collapse. For a whole day she was still unable to say a word. After a long while he nodded, forcing a smile, but smiling was uglier than crying. He would definitely come. Grandmaster Wen Hui invited my mother and princess inside. Yan Huai got bored of waiting, so he pulled me to see the lotus flowers planted in the temple. It was now summer, the time when lotus flowers were in full bloom. Yan Haoai went down to the lake to pick flowers for me. He said he wanted to pick a lot to bring back so that they could be displayed in vases for a long time. I waited for him on the shore, and while I was waiting, I suddenly saw the buffalo leg fall to the ground. I realized something was wrong. As soon as I turned around, someone covered my mouth from behind. As a beauty, I was already familiar with his breath. I knew I was no match for him and would not be easily tempted. He took me to a quiet meditation room before releasing me. Young Master Shen went to great lengths to bring this little girl here. What is the purpose? Miss Lu, are you really getting married? That's right. His eyes were filled with doubt, and at the same time there was also a deep sadness. Miss Lu, have we met before? Young Master is my father's disciple. My father often praises young Master to the family. Shen Yan interrupted me. She knew very well that that was not what I meant. I feel like I've forgotten something. I've only remembered a few things in the past few months. I always feel like Miss Luke is an extremely important person. Thinking about her getting married to someone else, my heart can't help but tighten, as if someone is squeezing it. I laugh coldly. Mr. Tam is joking. We've only met less than 5 times. Actually, there is no need to waste your energy to approach me. I just want to marry a young master who is worthy of my status. From now on, young Master Shen, please do not interfere. These last words can be considered as an insult from me, but compared to what he did to the Lu family in his previous life, this little insult is nothing. He was born into poverty, and his self-esteem was extremely strong. How could he bear such humiliation and speculation? This lady's complexion changed dramatically, sometimes red, sometimes white. Her eyes looking at me were both frightened and hurt. Young Master Shen, although clinging to the Lu family is a wide-open path, this little girl really cannot force herself to admire you. There are many noble ladies of suitable age in the capital. Young Master Shen can slowly choose. Miss Lu, do you really hate me? I'm speechless. No, young Master Shen is thinking too much. I just don't like this lingering action of the young master. Outside I heard Yan Haoai and Tranchao calling me. I shouted out, "Haoai Caca Tranchao, I'm here." Yan Haoai rushed into the room, saw me and Tam Diem tied up. "What are you two doing here? I've been looking for you for a while now." I hugged Yan Haoai's arm, breathing heavily, not knowing this top scholar said he had something very important that he didn't need to tell me. I was curious and followed, but unexpectedly he mysteriously said that I was an important person to him. "Brother Haoai, don't you think it's funny?" Yan Haoai gave me the lotus flower. "Be good, don't be angry anymore. Look at the flower I picked for you." When we left Bodhi Temple and went down the mountain, we were attacked by a group of people dressed in black. Arrows kept flying towards our carriage. This Bodhi Temple is prosperous, And the road up and down the mountain has many carriages coming and going every day. Right now, the entire mountain road only has our group of men and horses. All the women and children hide in the carriage. Don't go out, the guards will follow me to fight the enemy. Yan Hai shouted, telling us women to hide in the carriage. Don't go out for now. As for him, he led the guards to fight with those men in black. I sat in the carriage with Tran Chao. Only the faint sound of swords clashing could be heard. Tran Chao tightly held my hand, her body trembling, her lips trembling. This time when we went to the Bodhi temple, our two families only brought a dozen or so guards. Our numbers were much smaller than those in black, and in a moment we were pressed by them. The leader led a few subordinates to surround my carriage. Yan Hui stood in front of them, fighting 5 against 1, and was temporarily hindered by them. Taking advantage of that, 2 other people quickly rushed towards us. One of them raised his sword high in his hand, and slashed at the horse's hoof. I only felt the world spinning because the carriage flipped over. Tran Chao and I both rolled out, hitting our heads against something very hard, causing me to scream in pain. Clicking, Yan Hai turned his head, seeing me fall on the ground. He went crazy, his eyes red as he called out to me. After that, he flew into a rage and yelled at the men in black. Of the 5 people surrounding him, 3 were immediately killed, leaving only the 2 leaders. In the critical moment, Tam Diem came down from the mountain, picked up a sword from the ground, and killed the 2 people who were holding us captive. Tran Chao supported my back, and I struggled to sit up. Tam Diem reached out to pull me. Miss Luke, are you okay? I was bored, waved my hand. Thank you, I'm fine. He observed me for a while, then turned around, started fighting with the remaining assassins. With Shen Yan joining in, the situation quickly turned around. In the end, these scoundrels saw that there was no hope of winning, so they scattered and fled from the other side. Our carriage was no longer usable, the one my mother was riding in had 2 broken wheels, and ours was torn to pieces. Everyone bandaged it roughly, and decided to temporarily walk down the mountain first. I was kicked in the leg, and was pulled up onto the gate by Yan Hai on his back. Tam Diem's swordsmanship made Yan Hai extremely impressed, giving rise to a fondness for talented people. So he tried to help invite Tam Diem to give up literature to join the army. Brother Shun, I didn't expect you to be so well versed in both literature and martial arts. With your martial arts skills, if you become an editor in the academy, you will truly not be appreciated. Do you want to join our military camp? Shen Yan looked at the person lying on Yan Hui's back, his expression complicated, and finally lowered his eyes, only saying that his direction was on the pavilion, and he begged to decline Yan Hui's invitation. After that attack, the Lu family and the Dingwang Palace both became much more secretive. It seems that the alliance between our 2 families has been witnessed by many people. The situation is complicated now. The Lu family originally did not want to participate in this conflict, but there are always people who want to drag my father into it. My father reported to the emperor, asking to resign, citing his old age and wanting to return home in old age. The emperor refused several times but to no avail, so he had to agree, telling my father to go to Namhang to resign. KK General is in the remote northwest region. He only likes to stay in the military camp. After I got married, I had to follow Yen to my fiefdom, so the Lu family staying in the capital was meaningless. Thinking back to my previous life, the video gathering in the capital was completely destroyed in less than a day, so I convinced my parents to go with me to my fiefdom, buying a house near the prince's palace. They were a bit hesitant, but in the end, they decided to wait until after I got married, and temporarily moved to their ancestral home in Jiangnan, which was less than 100 miles away from the prince's fiefdom. Grandmaster Wen Hui chose our wedding date for March next year, which is only a few months away. Mother helped me refuse all the gatherings for young ladies in the capital, keeping me at home every day to wear the wedding dress. But news from outside still regularly reached my hands. The most notable news is about Xin Yan. He has entered the Hanlin Academy. It is said that he is very trusted by the emperor. That time when we were attacked, the news of him holding a sword and rushing out by himself has spread throughout the city. Now his reputation is even more famous. Both literary and martial, handsome and graceful, Xin Yan has become the target that all the noble families want to borrow. The famous and powerful families wanted to marry their daughters to him, but he tactfully refused them all. It was said that the 6th princess was extremely infatuated with him, blocking his way every day. Shen Yan definitely did not want to be the prince consort. He had worked so hard to climb to that position, how could he let it go? Furthermore, he has a deep grudge against our Luke family. Being the son-in-law means losing all power. Thinking back to his ruthlessness and cruelty in his previous life when he destroyed the entire Luke family, my heart still feels extremely cold. The hand that was following the flower trembled. The needle pricked my finger, and a few drops of blood came out. I stared at the drops of blood on my hand, confused. The buffalo that was standing at the side jumped again. Seeing that I didn't say anything, turned his head to look, and only then did he realize that my hand was pricked by the needle and was bleeding. "Miss, your hand is bleeding. Why aren't you making a sound?" "It's nothing. A little pain is nothing to this girl." "Miss, why do I feel so different from before? Is it okay?" "I feel like Miss has become a different person. Back then just a little bit of a bump was enough to make you do the right thing." "I'm not bored. When I was young I didn't care about worldly affairs. And also the matter related to the young Master Tam, I clearly remember that before the exam, you secretly went to look at him. But after the exam he passed the top exam, you became completely cold. Isn't it because my mind is not clear? It was just a momentary curiosity. Then after thinking about it, I felt it was inappropriate." The buffalo-footed man stared at me, seemingly not believing me. But that young Master Shen was also strange. The sixth princess wanted to choose him as her husband, but he didn't agree. But he agreed with the Nguagong family, wanting to be engaged to Xie Bang-on, the daughter of the Guogong's main wife. Huh, that's quite interesting. Didn't he always refuse all marriages before? Nguagong's family name was Xie. That family was the maternal family of Consort Yun. Consort Yun gave birth to the third prince and the uncle prince. The third prince was the leader of the battle for the crown prince. The third princess consort was the eldest daughter of the Xie family, and Xie Bangying, who was engaged to Shen Yan, was the second daughter. But with Shen Yan's ambition, how could he support the third prince? I wonder if Nguagong will regret it later? In the previous life, other than the young princes, he had all dealt with the other princes. I still don't know the details of the so-called grudge between Shen Yan and my elder brother. We'll have to wait until elder brother returns, then the whole family can discuss it together, and make preparations early. The next time I saw Shen Yan was at the chrysanthemum viewing banquet in the fall. I was locked up in the house for several months, and finally the time came for the empress to hold a chrysanthemum viewing banquet in the palace. Mother originally wouldn't let me go out, but Yan Huai felt sorry for me, so he dragged Princess Ding over to beg, and mother had no choice but to agree. The Lu family, the prince's mansion, and the Nguagong mansion all arrived at the same time. Shen Yan and Xie Bingying walked in side by side, attracting the attention of everyone present. It seemed that Shen Yan had specially prepared herself today, wearing an ivory white brocade robe and a jade crown made of yangji, looking both noble and elegant. Xie Bingying beside him wore a light blue fairy dress, looking both lively and agile. Everyone praised them for being handsome and beautiful. When Shen Yan saw our table, she came over and greeted our parents, but the usually boastful and arrogant Xie Bingying seemed to have changed her personality. Obediently following behind Shen Yan, greeting us sweetly, "I heard you are following the wedding dress, can you teach me?" Shen Yan's eyes swept past me, nodding to Yan Huai. I coughed lightly. My sewing skills are not good. Every time I have to ask the tailor. But Xie Bingying had already stepped forward, holding my hand. "My dear sister, don't be so modest. Also, I heard that the wedding dress for my servant was made entirely from Nanchuan, right?" "I'm not sure, but it was all brought by Brother Huai. The land of Prince Ding's fief is relatively fertile and prosperous, and the gifts that Yan Huai gave me were quite rare. When he heard that I wanted a wedding dress, he immediately brought several rolls of fabric for me to choose from. So envious, Prince Yan is really considerate of his concubine. Isn't young Master Shen also very kind to his second wife?" Xie Bingying blushed and flirted with Shen Yan, but Shen Yan didn't seem to care. So Xie Bingying had no choice but to walk over, sit next to him and tug on his sleeve. "Brother Yan, what are you looking at?" Not far away, the imperial concubine led the two princes and the sixth princess into the banquet. The sixth princess saw Shen Yan and immediately headed this way. Young Master Shen also arrived later. Princess Lu didn't even look at Xie Bingying, and sat down on the other side of Shen Yan. "Young Master Shen, I recently drew a painting, can you help me fix it a bit?" Imperial concubine Yun and Imperial concubine Guifei in the palace were already annoyed with each other. And Xie Bingying wasn't someone who knew how to be patient. What kind of princess? Clinging to someone else's fiancé every day, what dignity? Princess Lu just raised her head. That's right, who told me to be a princess? This duke is one level above others. Xie Bingying was unwilling to accept defeat and opened her mouth to mock. But in the end, no one wanted to. The two of them would not give in and were about to fight. Xun Yan had no choice but to intervene to mediate. The two of them were both important figures. Xun Yan might be experienced in scheming and plotting in the imperial court, but when it came to reconciling two powerful women, she had no experience. He was soon criticized by both sides, and in the end, it was only thanks to the queen's appearance that the two decided to fight. The scene had not been quiet for long when someone saw Yan Haoai and started to pick on him. Yan the two, I remember that when you were young, you were terribly mischievous. Who would have thought that a man like you would now be following behind the sixth young lady to peel shrimp for someone? After we get married, will we let her climb on our heads and serve us? A man who lives like that is truly a disgrace. Before going to Donghai, Yan Haoai often fought in the capital. He was tall since he was young, no one could beat him, so it is not surprising that even now people still hold grudges against him. Everyone's eyes were on Yan Haoai and me, and whispers began to resound from all around. Yan Haoai was not angry, just laughed and answered that person. When I was young, I did not know right from wrong. If I offended you, please forgive me. As for peeling shrimp, my little one likes to eat it. I also like to peel it for her. Whether a person is incompetent or not cannot be judged by family matters. Only those who are incompetent, who cannot do anything for their family, and rely on their parents for everything, are considered incompetent. After Yan Haoai finished speaking, he laughed and looked at me. Kid, these crabs are not as delicious as fresh crabs caught from the sea, but I just tasted them and they are not too bad. Do you want me to peel one for you? Yan Tu's answer made everyone present look at him with wide eyes. The women's faction began to praise him. The Prince of Yan went out to make a career, and when he returned home, he loved his family. That was the kind of man who deserved to be praised. It had to be said that the Prince of Yan and Miss Luke were a perfect match. I thought that Miss Luke would be more suitable for a scholarly scholar, but unexpectedly, when she was next to a vulgar person like Yan the Two, she didn't feel any conflict at all. This soon-to-be wed couple was really too sweet, making people jealous. Tabangon on the side also tugged on Diem's sleeve. Diem say, I also want to eat shrimp. Her beautiful eyes fell on me, both threatening and forbearing. Xie Bingying beside me put her bloody elbow on me again. Look at how happy Sixth Sister is. You can also peel shrimp for me. I don't know how to do it. Tam Diem withdrew his gaze. It's not that he didn't know, he just didn't want to do it. In this life he was too lazy to even sweet-talk someone. March 12th is the wedding day of Yan Haoai and I. The Fu family of Luke and Fu Din Vong, which had been quiet for nearly a year, finally became lively. Tam Diem is my father's disciple. He came extremely early today, appearing at dawn. Taking advantage of everyone's busyness, he barged into my boudoir, looking like he hadn't slept all night. His expression was haggard and his eyes were red. He tightly grabbed my wrist. Wang Wang, do you really want to marry Yan Haoai? It's not proper for Tam Dai Nan to barge into my boudoir early in the morning. You remember, right? That's why you're so cold to me, ignoring me like that. Chow Chow, we are husband and wife, you should be my wife. How could you bear to marry someone else? After the banquet last autumn, I never saw him again, only heard a few words about him from other people. I heard that he continued to be promoted, and was quite close to the third prince's faction. Dukan was extremely satisfied with this future son-in-law. In the imperial court, the third prince's power is growing stronger and stronger. His wedding with Xie Bingying has been set for this fall. Could it be that Master Shen is delirious? Master and I have only met a few times, and Master is saying such things. How should I behave? I heard that the Lord and Miss Xie are about to get married. This little girl respectfully wishes the Lord and Miss Xie a happy marriage, with white hair and falling teeth. Enough, Jiang Jiang, don't say any more. I won't marry her. You know clearly that I'm just being two-faced with her. There's no sense of affection. So could it be that the Lord has any sense of affection for me? Ah, the so-called sense of affection for the Lord is sending 300 people of the Luke family to hell, right? Shun's beautiful face seemed to have all the blood drained from it. Her face was filled with regret, low and wide, begging me, Jiang Jiang, I was wrong, you don't know how much I regret it. If someone sees you being so impolite, where will I put my face? Tam Diem's hand that was holding my wrist loosened, and I also took the opportunity to pull my hand back. Wang Wang, I know she is taking revenge on me. In my 2 lives there is nothing more painful than losing you. Giving you to someone else is more painful than killing me. I understand now. I was wrong. Can you give me a chance to make it up to you? Xinyan, what do you have to do? The 300 lives of the Liu family. What right do you have to ask me to forgive you? Footsteps came from outside. I took a deep breath and shouted to chase the guests away. Please, sir, go back. He took out a gift box from his pocket and placed it on the table. This was the gift I chose for you. The footsteps got closer and closer. He stared at me with wide eyes, seemingly wanting to say something but not wanting to, as if he was extremely unwilling, but in the end he still hurriedly left through the back door. The wedding gift he gave me was a jade comb. Holding this comb, the familiar feeling in my hand made me feel miserable. In my previous life he had also bought me an identical comb. At that time I liked it very much, I used it every day to comb my hair. He also often combed my hair and drew my eyebrows. We were married for 5 years, our eyes and faces were aligned, we could be considered a loving couple. It was only on the last day that I discovered that all the affection he showed was just a lie to distract us. How much laughter! The buffalo-footed man led the young masters to help with the inventory of the gifts. When he saw this white jade comb, he said, Miss, the comb in your hand is so beautiful. Which young master sent it here? Will you use this when you comb your hair later? The buffalo-footed man's continuous questions pulled my train of thought back. I put the comb back into the box, closed the lid, and gave this comb to the ice-cold me. In this life, Xinyan and I have nothing to do with each other. Whether he did it on purpose or not, giving me a comb on my wedding day was an act of disrespect. As for that box on the dressing table, there is a needle in it, give it to her too. 2 months ago, on my coming-of-age ceremony, Xinyan also came to give me a gift. The letter he gave me was a jade needle. He had also given me one like that in his previous life. He wanted to use these things to remind me of my memories. Ridiculous. For the head, use the comb that Brother Hai gave you a few days ago. Chanbu giggled, right, how could I forget what Prince Yen gave me? It seems like Prince Yen's was a bit more precious. She took out the white jade comb, held it in her hand and felt a bit regretful. Someone else gave it to you, why should I give it to Miss Ta? Quickly hand it over, or else you'll be so busy that you'll forget. Yes, I just saw Miss Ta and the other ladies waiting outside in the hall. After saying that, she also took the box and went out. My mother led the matchmaker into the room. Everyone said auspicious words, then started to comb my hair. A combing of hair, full of happiness and peace. 2 flows of loveless life, peaceful and happy. 3 flows of white hair and toothless, never to be separated. Looking at the face in the mirror, in my heart I also mistakenly follow everyone's blessings. In this life, our family must be happy and peaceful. Outside, the sound of drums and trumpets was bustling. Someone shouted loudly, the groom has arrived. Tran Chao said that Yen the two rode a tall horse, led by a team of bridesmaids, and carried a palanquin of 8 people to welcome me. My mother corrected her. From now on you must call me old lady. Tran Chao stuck out her tongue, yes madam. Big brother knocked on the door for me, but when I was about to get on the palanquin, he was slow to let me down. Yen Hoi saw this and was very worried. The girl I had been thinking about since I was 12 years old. How could I not treat her well? After receiving repeated assurances from Yen Hoi, my brother finally agreed to hand me over. The wedding banquet in the palace of the King of Ding had many guests. Even the emperor attended. After the ceremony ended, Yen Hoi was dragged away by a group of brothers to be given alcohol, and by the time he was sent back, he was already drunk. Shen Yan also followed behind drunk, waiting until everyone had left. He stood outside the door of our bridal chamber, crying and making a fuss, for a long time still refusing to leave. Miss, what happened to Master Shen today? He got drunk and made a fuss, we couldn't pull him away. What should we do, miss? Chan Chao was so sad that she kept pacing back and forth in the room. My headscarf was still not lifted, so I had to let Jinju help me out the door. It was getting late. Lord Shun was standing here and refusing to leave. Was he trying to watch me and Brother Hui consummate our marriage? Shen Yan stopped crying and making a fuss, and became quiet again. Haha, then I shun wish the sixth Miss and Prince Yen a long life of happiness. From now on I shun will not disturb you anymore. I will take my leave. Shindiam's voice sounded very sad. Zhanju, who was beside her, mumbled, "Why is Shindaran so absent-minded?" Zhanju helped me back to the edge of the bed. Yanhui was already snoring. I told Zhanju to prepare water so I could serve him to wash his face. As soon as Zhanju went out, the person lying on the bed immediately jumped up. "Wife, let this husband lift the towel for you." This voice didn't sound drunk at all. The red scarf on his head shook. I received a pair of smiling eyes. If I didn't pretend to be drunk, they would only tease me more. And that charming guy was determined to make things difficult for me. I thought that tonight I couldn't delay the wedding night with my little sister, so I decided to admit defeat early. "But my lady, I heard all the words you said to that beautiful lady. It turns out that little sister is like me, so impatient?" I pinched him, but his hand was grabbed by the other person. Then he gently pulled me, making me fall into his arms. "Yanhui picked me up, little sister. You don't know how long I've waited for this day." Not many days after my wedding, my elder brother returned to the military camp in the northwest. My parents also packed their belongings and followed us to Jiangnan. Escaping from this capital, we probably won't be able to return very often. Along the way, Yanhui told me about the customs of the southern people. According to him, this land around the south is warm with 4 seasons like spring. There is a vast, boundless ocean with clear blue water. Little sister, you are afraid of the cold, so going there is the most suitable. My mother was used to it and had absolutely no desire to return to the capital. If it weren't for the need to arrange my marriage, she wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere. Hearing his explanation, I couldn't help but feel hopeful. In my previous life, in the short 20 years I had been on Earth, I had never left the capital. I lived a disciplined life and kept to myself in the back home. So in this life I want to travel here and there a little more, to see the different landscapes of this country. Halfway through our journey, news arrived from the capital. The Nguagong and the Third Prince's rebellion had failed. Yunfei was exiled to the Cold Palace. The Third Prince and his uncle were demoted to commoners and imprisoned for life. Apart from Tam Diem, those who were involved with the Third Prince's faction were all dismissed and their homes were searched. The entire circle and influence of this Prince Tam Diem was the Emperor's sharp sword. This time, he did very well, and was directly promoted to become a minister of the Ministry of Personnel. My father held the letter sent from the capital, his face filled with fear, warning his younger generation to examine him. I was not surprised by this result. In his previous life, he was already able to reach the pinnacle of power. In this life, he also had the memories of his previous life, so he would only become stronger. My ears unconsciously clenched into fists, not knowing why in his previous life he had mistakenly killed the Liu family. Tam Diem's hometown is in the northwest, and my brother is also stationed there. The last time my brother returned to the capital, I asked him if he had ever accidentally injured or killed anyone while in the military camp. My brother thought about it for a while and was certain that our enemies had only been on the battlefield to kill. I told my brother my suspicions, and he thought about it for a while and said that a few years ago his identity card had been lost. He suspected that it was taken by Xiedu that year. His elder brother kept the Jidu in the military camp. It was very likely that he took his card out to drink some flower wine. Xiedu was the second son of the Duke of Ngua. He had no job or position, and as a second son, he was not allowed to inherit the throne. He was sent to the military camp for a few years to gain military merit, then returned home and held a 5th-rank official position. Later, while drinking with Tam Diem, my brother mentioned that he had lost his identity card many years ago, but I don't know if Tam Diem believed it or not. When I arrived in Jiangnan, it was already early summer. The land in the south was both warm and humid. I liked it very much. After staying in the family's ancestral home for a while, I reluctantly left my parents and followed Yan Haoi to the fiefdom. Fortunately, the two places were very close to each other, and it only took a day by carriage to get there. The royal family was simple, and the princess was a laid-back and easygoing person, and did not need me to attend to her every day. According to her, those old rules were all to torture her daughter-in-law, and she did not care about those things. After returning to his fief, Yan Haoi would go to the military camp during the day and return at night. The princess was afraid that I would get bored, so she often took me out for a walk, to eat and drink, and to attend tea parties with the local ladies. The scenery here was wonderful, and as soon as the day of the woodcutting season came, Yanhoi would take me to climb the mountain and see the sea. Compared to the capital, life here was much more leisurely and comfortable. Time passed quickly, and the Prince of Fu frequently received news regarding the situation in the capital. During their discussions, Xin Yan was always the center of the conversation. Later, I heard that the old emperor of Bangha Tamdiam assisted an 8-year-old prince to ascend the throne. He was still the same as in his previous life, stepping up to the pinnacle of power. It's just that in this life, he and I are strangers. 1 year 1 north, 1 sky south, 1 land north. From now on we don't need to meet again. Aside from Xin Yan's perspective, I was born in a small town on the northwest border. My parents passed away due to war. Every day my older sister went up the mountain to pick herbs. I came to follow the herd to support me and my younger brother, and send me to school. When I was 12 years old, my older sister was 17. One time, she went up the mountain to collect herbs and never returned. She was humiliated to death. My younger brother followed her up the mountain and was scared to death by the queen. He only brought back a token with the name of the 6th minister written on it. No one could understand my feelings at that moment. In my heart there were only 2 words: conservative. I showed this token to others. They said that this was an identification card for people in the military camp. Not far from our village there was indeed a military camp. Then I heard that there was indeed a person named Luke Thua, a descendant of a noble family. His father was a grand tutor in the capital. I wanted to risk my life to fight him, but I couldn't even get close to him because I heard he held a small military position. I hid my hatred in my heart, but fortunately my literary talent had always been very good. At the age of 16, I passed the provincial examinations with the highest score, and finally left that barren land to escape to the prosperous capital. The first time I met Luke Tan Wang was actually the first day I arrived in the capital. At that time I was covered in dust and wind, my face pale and tired. Her maid was buying breakfast and was running in such a hurry that she bumped into me. The food was scattered all over the ground. The maid was a bit annoyed and wanted to scold me. But Luke Tan Wang stuck her head out from the palanquin. Her oval face still had the chubby features of a child. When she smiled, there were 2 small dimples on the corners of her lips. She softly taught her maidservant to be careful when walking recklessly. Don't blame others. It's just a few pieces of cake. If you drop it, just throw it away and buy another one. The maid went to buy some more. And when she returned, Luke Tan Duong took out 2 big buns from there and stuffed them into my hands. Big brother, you just arrived in the capital, right? You probably haven't had breakfast yet. I'll treat you to some as an apology. She smiled and looked at me, her mouth puffed out like a rabbit's, extremely adorable. After that, I tried to ask about the grand tutor's family. When I saw her again, someone pointed at her and said to me, "Ah, that's the daughter of the 6th grand tutor. Her name is Luke Tan Wang." I was both happy and sad. I was happy because I could see her again and finally knew her name. I was sad because she was the daughter of the grand tutor. With my own deliberate arrangement, I quickly became famous among the scholars in the capital. This made the grand tutor take notice of me. He greatly valued my talent and accepted me as his disciple. He even hinted that he wanted to marry his daughter to me. I did not refuse. Perhaps she was also hinted at by her family, because one time when I went to buy paper and ink, I met her in the library. She kept sneaking glances at me, then asked me what kind of ink was suitable for a woman to write with such small letters. She thought she was calm enough. I secretly found it funny, but still answered her seriously. After the imperial examination, the 6th imperial tutor wanted to marry her to me, and asked me if I had any opinions. I just answered that everything was according to my master's arrangement. The grand tutor was very happy, saying that he wanted to go see the golden list to catch the son-in-law on the day of the list, to set the marriage early, to avoid the old emperor from noticing. On the day of the list, I slept longer than usual, as if trapped in a nightmare, unable to wake up. In the dream, the green-haired man covered in blood fell into my arms. His body was desperate, secretly beautiful. In the next life, let's not meet again. I called out her name loudly, wanting to wake her up. But she gradually fainted in my arms, her body slowly turning cold. Snow covered the sky and the earth, and only when she came to bring me good news and knocked on my door to wake me up did I finally wake up. When I got out of bed, I found my pillow wet with tears. The person outside congratulated me and said, "I'm so happy." But I didn't feel any joy. The image in the nightmare was like a heavy rock pressing down on my chest, making it hard for me to breathe. There was only one thought in my heart, and that was to immediately see Luke Tan Wong. When I entered the Luke family's mansion, the moment she appeared before me, refusing my proposal, saying that she already had someone in mind, and that if it wasn't that person, then nothing, my heart felt like it was about to burst. The way she looked at me seemed calm, but I could feel an endless hatred in it, making me feel desperate. Wong, I blurted out this name, as if I had called it 100, 1,000 times already. The rock pressing on my chest felt like it was about to knock me down, causing me to vomit a mouthful of blood. This little girl thought secretly, "It would be more appropriate for you to call me Miss Luke." Her coldness and distance made me feel a piercing pain in my heart. After that, every night I lay on the bed, I remembered many things. She had married me, and she loved me in a coquettish way, calling me husband. I don't know how many times I wanted to be cruel to her, but when I met those eyes, my heart softened. The more I remembered, the more I suffered. I thought this must be something from a previous life. And then, before the day she got married, I remembered everything. In this life, she firmly drew a clear line with me. I could only watch her become a couple with another man. She was intimate with that person. Every time I saw that scene, my heart ached as if it was being torn apart. But this is what I deserve. In her previous life, she knelt on the ground and begged me, and now I spared her family. She even said she was pregnant while I thought she was lying to me. Not only did I not believe her, but I also insulted her. Right in front of her, I ordered the execution of 300 people in her clan, forced her parents to death, and then killed her elder brother. In the end, she threw herself into my sword in despair. I didn't want to kill her, I just wanted her to taste a little of that despair. Her brother humiliated and killed my elder sister, so why can't I kill her entire clan? She is so weak, following a purse for me. Just a little needle pricked her hand and broke her husband's back. I never thought she would commit suicide, she has never been such a strong person. I never thought she would rush into my sword so fiercely. She is extremely afraid of pain, how could she bear such pain? Yang, can you wake up? I hugged her, told her I was wrong, begged her to open her eyes and look at me, but she ignored me. The person who always followed me around, coquettishly calling me husband, was no longer there. I hugged her tightly, wanting to warm her up. My Yang was extremely afraid of the cold. Every winter she would put her hands in my chest to warm her up. But today, no matter how much I hugged her, she did not respond. I carried her all the way home, thinking to myself, "Young lady, wake up quickly, we're home." After returning to the mansion, I found out that she wasn't lying to me at all. She was really pregnant with my child. The imperial family in the mansion didn't know yet, and were still happily picking out lots of fabric, saying that they wanted to make clothes for the unborn young master. I was extremely miserable and regretful. Why didn't I believe her? Why didn't I delay a bit or investigate a bit more? In this life, I want to repent and make amends for my mistakes. I went to ask the great scholar. He only told me that the cause of the previous life will have the effect of this life. In this life, after remembering everything, I added fuel to the fire in front of the emperor, causing the entire Nkwak family to be locked up in prison. That cowardly Xiaoyu knelt before me, showing remorse, admitting that he had stolen the identity card of the 6th minister and sneaked out of the military camp to go out for a walk, and that he had humiliated my elder sister to death. He was annoyed with the 6th minister, because he had been beaten up by the 6th minister before, so he held a grudge in his heart, pushed the 6th minister's fiancée into the water, and then asked one of his old servants to save her, tarnishing her innocence. Thinking of that man whose heart was pierced by my sword, I felt extremely guilty. Order this guy Tadu to be chopped into 1,000 pieces. In my 2 lives as a human, my official career has been smooth sailing. In my previous life, I had the guidance of the Luke family, and I also knew how to sneak around, so I held high power at only 20 years old. In this life, the Luke family was not involved, but I had the memories of my previous life. I chose the same path as my previous life, because I knew clearly what benefits power would bring. In this life, I climbed to the pinnacle of power even faster than my previous life, but I no longer had the title of emperor. There was no way I could have her. She said she didn't want to forget me in this life anymore. She did it, but I had to use 2 lives to make up for my mistakes. In both lives, the happiest time of my life was after I married her, but after losing her, every day I was like a soulless corpse. My heart has no room for anyone else. I once brought that girl from the Ta family along to show off. I thought she would be jealous, but she didn't even pay any attention. She just stared at Yen and obediently ate the shrimp he peeled for her. We were like that in our previous life. She was always so spoiled and I could bear with her. She found eating fish and shrimp annoying, but she was very greedy. I was always the one peeling the shrimp and picking out the bones for her. Everyone praised the 2 of them as a perfect match, which made my heart ache beyond measure. I would never be worthy of her again. I put all my energy into courting the government, and everyone cursed me as a traitor. But I had no regrets, even if I was slandered by the whole world. I must also have power to the point of covering the sky with one hand, because only then can I protect her peace for the rest of her life.